I recently read the book The Dip by author Seth Godin. Seth challenges the mantra, winners never quit. He says it's a spectacularly bad piece of advice. Should you have never quit wetting your bed? Should you have never quit that job at Burger King in high school? Or should you never quit selling a product that's obsolete? Winners quit all the time. A winning investor quits investing money in a losing stock, so he or she has money to invest in a winning stock. If I never quit my investment in Blockbuster 5 years ago, I wouldn't have any money to invest in Netflix today. Winners know that they only have so much time, money, and daily energy. So quitting is an essential strategy to take advantage of better opportunities. And when it comes to your career and your business, the only opportunity worth investing in is the opportunity to become number one. Seth says, if you're not going to get to number one, you might as well quit now. When Jack Welch was CEO of General Electric, he quit funding any GE business that wasn't number one or number two in their respective markets. By doing this, he freed up capital to invest in product lines where GE was the best, or had a high probability of becoming the best. The result? Jack increased the GE market share from $12 billion to $280 billion over his 20 years as CEO. It turns out that being number one is seriously underrated. Seth says, we reward the product or the song or the organization or the employee that is number one. The rewards are heavily skewed, so much so that it's typical for number one to get 10 times the benefit of number 10 and 100 times the benefit of number 100. Becoming number one is such a wise investment of your time and effort because when you become number one, you're the first thing on people's minds and the most likely place that they'll invest their money. What's the first thing that comes to mind when I say coffee shop or electric car? I'd wager that most of you thought Starbucks and Tesla Motors. For whatever reason, we have agreed that these companies and products are the best in their space. And because they're the best, they are the first thing we consider when buying something in that space. But you might think becoming the best takes too damn long to be worth it. Well, that may have been true at one time, but thanks to Google, it's now easier and more profitable than ever. Google allows people to search for specific solutions to specific problems based on their specific preferences. Seth says the mass market is dying. There is no longer one best song or one best kind of coffee. Now there are a million micro-markets, but each micro-market still has a best. If your micro-market is organic markets in Tulsa, then that's your world. And being the best in that world is the place to be. If you're the best organic market in Tulsa, people visiting Tulsa will find you with a simple Google search. But you better be the best, because they aren't going to waste their time going to the fourth best market in the city, unless they've already tried the top three. So let's say that you stop doing everything that doesn't contribute to you being number one, and commit your limited time, money, and energy to becoming the best in a desired field or micro-market. At first, you're filled with excitement. You're learning at a rapid rate, getting lots of positive feedback and seeing results. But then the novelty wears off, and your results start to dip. It's no longer fun. It's frustrating. At this point, how can you tell if it's a dip with great results on the horizon or if it's heading towards a dead end? To know if it's a dip or a dead end, you need to know who you're influencing. Let's say you're trying to become the number one author of children's fantasy books. You have a proposal for a new book, and the goal is to influence your favorite publisher to accept your proposal and support your first children's book. If you get rejected the first time, you might persist. But that persistence has its limits. If that publisher isn't interested, then your persistence can quickly turn into pestering, making a wall between you and that publisher and making it impossible to change their mind. But if you are trying to influence the publishing market, then your persistence is likely to pay off. After being rejected by several publishers, you would find ways to improve your proposal. With enough rejections, your pitch and your proposal would be good enough for someone in the publishing market to consider you. The fact that several publishers have rejected you doesn't matter much when there's many more publishers who've never heard of you. With enough iterative improvement, you'll eventually appeal to the interests of one publisher, who will take a chance on your book and help you along the path to becoming number one. When J.K. Rowling was proposing her fantasy book, Harry Potter, she got rejected 12 times, but she kept persisting because she was trying to appeal to a market of publishers, not an individual publisher. So who are you trying to influence? A market or an individual? If you're influencing a market, you're in a dip, and it's time to persist. To increase your odds of persisting through a dip and not quitting, you need to decide when you'll quit before the dip starts. When a smart investor purchases a stock, he or she puts a stop-loss limit on their purchase, a condition that, if met, will cause them to automatically sell their stock and accept the loss. Unless there is a fundamental change in the market, the investor will remain committed to their investment until the predefined exit condition is met. This prevents them from panicking, exiting the position early, and missing out on substantial returns. Before you invest in a dip, you need to do the same. Ultramarathoner Dick Collins once said, "Decide before the race the conditions that will cause you to stop and drop out." You don't want to be out there saying, "Well, gee, my leg hurts, I'm a little dehydrated, I'm sleepy, I'm tired, and it's cold and windy," and talk yourself into quitting. If you are making a decision based on how you feel at that moment, you will probably make the wrong decision. To avoid making rash decisions and throwing away previous effort, you need to determine your limits before entering a dip. How much time are you willing to spend? How much money are you willing to lose? How much pain are you willing to go through before quitting? With those limits in mind, you need to make a quitting contract with yourself and vow to not quit unless you go beyond those limits or something fundamental changes. With a quitting contract in place, you can calmly face panic and setback by asking yourself, have my predefined quitting conditions been met? No? Has something fundamental changed? No? Okay, then I need to stick with it. In the end, if you can't be the best, it's time to quit. Quitting will free up precious resources, so you have the opportunity to invest in activities that will allow you to become the best. And the fastest way to become the best is to get through more dips. That was the core message that I gathered from Seth's book. It's a short read and I highly recommend it for anyone who is scared to quit or simply quits whenever it gets too hard. If you would like a one-page PDF summary of insights that I gathered from this book, just click the link below and I'll be happy to email it to you. If you already subscribe to the free Productivity Game newsletter, this PDF is sitting in your inbox. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a productive week.